Homer's Odyssey isn't just the tale of a man trying to sail home. It's the story of a world that refuses to wait for you. Odysseus leaves Ithaca as a king, but by the time he washes back on his shore, decades later, everything has changed. His palace is overrun with suitors bawling over marrying his wife, Penelope. Even his own son has grown into a stranger. On the way, he's tossed between gods, monsters, and his own flaws. His journey isn't a hero saving the world, it's a man trying to survive the world that keeps moving whether he succeeds or not. Mushoku Tensei is an Odyssey too. Except instead of a cunning warrior, our Odysseus is a washed up NEET, and instead of a ship, he's armed with magic, horniness, and erectile dysfunction. It's not some get hit, get reincarnated, get good bullshit where a fucking stat screen appears with infinite levels. This is a full biography, childhood, adolescence, adulthood, written like an epic, where every mistake, every decision, every person Rudius meets repels back into a living, breathing world. The Odyssey was written thousands of years ago, yet you can still see its influence everywhere. On video games, road movies, or adventure stories, Mushoku Tensei has played a similar role for isekais in the last decade. It wasn't the first. If you go back far enough, Nihon has had people tumbling into other worlds since Aura Battliad Dunbind. I don't know how to pronounce that. But it was the one that broke the internet, spreading like wildfire and leaving behind a blueprint so sticky you can trace it in half the anime charts today. Makes sense how half the anime nowadays looks like. Huh. Interesting. I just want to point this out. This guy wrote this. All you see of him is him wearing a fucking great helm and a Gojo compressor, where his readers usually look like Rifujin Namagonote sensei didn't just write an adventure. He wrote a life of someone who starts pedo, grows, stumbles, finds love, how? Becomes a father, how the fuck? And eventually leaves behind a legacy. You start reading Mushoku Tensei after swallowing your buffoon-brained take, I don't wanna watch it cause Rudius is, and realize that a story can be good even if you hate a character. Duh. At first it almost tricks you. Boobies? More boobies. Magic. Boobies. Chiseled fucking ass with a tail. It looks like every fantasy box is already ticked. But then the longer you stay, the more you realize it isn't a checklist, it's a life you are watching unfold in real time. Magic isn't just it's craft. Rudius as a jet spends years experimenting with mana control. Failing, retrying, it makes you feel the grind. When he fires off chantless spells, it's not just a spectacle, it's a payoff. Or when the grandnephew and his granduncle bond over their fondness of bestiality, all of this begs me to ask a question. When the author literally looks like this and a studio exists only to make this anime, and if the anime is giving me family names, history of the world, chiseled ass in season 1, and the second season it's the boy dealing with erectile dysfunction, why am I supposed to not enjoy this? Rudius might be the main character, but Mushoku Tensei doesn't baby him with cardboard cutouts orbiting his dick like other isekais. Everyone here's got their own lives, goals, and personal problems to deal with. Eris starts off as your average tsundere, which doesn't even come near the best dere, but instead of just being haha, she punches him because love. She gets her own character development arc, her own grief, her own coming of age. She leaves and gives Rudius erectile dysfunction. Sylphie, best girl, childhood friend, except she's not locked in a fucking basement waiting for the protagonist cunt to remember her existence. She grows up, goes from Zoro to Gojo, downgrade, finds her own people, and when she meets Rudius again, it's not some, you remember our childhood promise, now we gotta fuck. It's two adults colliding after walking two completely different paths. Roxy, poor girl got her panties stolen by this vile homunculus after teaching him how to cast a fireball. You would think that she would become irrelevant to the plot after his training arc. No, she ends up marrying this loathsome creep. Matter of fact, double, no, triple down on that, cause all the three girls I mentioned right now all end up as his wives. Motherfucker. Paul Greyrat. Parents in isekais are usually allergic to relevance, They're either dead, conveniently absent, or don't fucking exist in the first place. Here's a dad who is just as horny as his son. Dude literally cheats on his wife in the first few episodes of the series, and somehow the 34-year-old bed-dwelling degenerate is solving his mess. He's reckless and deeply flawed, which makes him painfully human. He's not winning any Dad of the Year award, but showing off for his family anyway. Paul's death didn't feel like a character exit. It felt like a funeral. He spent all his time trying to reunite his family after the great teleportation incident and ended up dying protecting his son. History in Mushoku Tensei isn't some Chapter 1 Kingdom founded 001K. It's in the ruins you trip over. The scars people don't shut up about. Racism, slavery, politics, everything you'd need in a world. It's present. This is a world built on shit that already went wrong. The Laplace War interrupted everyone's family trees. Perugius Dola, the armored dragon king, shows up in one legend like a zillion years later, incinerating armies, raising a fucking sky castle, and then ghosting everyone. Then there is Hitogami, the little white room bastard. This guy solves your problem by giving you bigger problems, just like your professors. Hitogami sees that Rudius's descendants will eventually team up with Orsted to kill him. So the guy sets Rudius up for failure, telling him to kill Orsted, the dragon god, who is basically the strongest in the verse as the technic god is absent. Guess what Rudius does? He builds a fucking mech, a Gundam, with a Gatling gun for an arm, in this world of magic and swords. Anyways, Orsted rearranged his organs alphabetically. Oh holy shit, Ares is back! They both get their ass whooped. After this, Rudius becomes Orsted's subordinate and has his last marriage. Did you know? Rudius invented condoms. Name me an isekai where the main character invents condoms. There are tons of things I could talk about, like time travel. Rudius from a different future figures out time travel magic and comes to Rudius of our timeline to tell him that Hitogami is the problem. How Roxy dies, Sylphie dies, and eventually everything goes wrong, and Rudius's life is ruined beyond comprehension. The racism towards demon folk is inherited. Being feared, being hated. If you are born with green hair in this world, it's GG's. It's roots go back to the Laplace War, when the Supports were tricked by the demon lord Laplace and became one of the most feared and hated tribes in the world. There's also incest, which I'm not gonna talk about for my own sanity. Every corner of this world has teeth. You don't just stroll across continent like it's Skyrim with fast travel unlocked. Step too far and suddenly you are the hated gaijin who doesn't know the language, doesn't understand the customs, and is one wrong word away from getting your head cracked open. The central continent. That's the stage most of our story kicks off on. Human kingdom, sprawling, politics simmering under every stone road. They have got the numbers, the guilds, the civilization, and the arrogance of thinking they are the center of the world. Slide east, the demon continent. Vast wastelands, fractured tribes, a history carved out of survival and exile. This is where the demon god Laplace left scars so deep that they became culture. Rudy doesn't just land here on a vacation arc. He's stripped down to survival, can't talk to anyone, can't buy bread without risking his life. Every scrap of trust has to be earned. For the north, the beggarite continent. Wastelands, desert, a land that tells you to piss off. South, Melis continent, where religion runs thicker than blood. And hanging above them all, the sky castle of Perugius, a literal castle in the clouds, where the armored dragon king still broods centuries after the Laplace War. Languages? Human tongue, beast tongue, demon tongue, ancient tongue, dragon god tongue, your tongue, my tongue. Dead words whispered in ruins. When Rudius learns new ones, you feel the friction of cultures grinding against each other. It's just sexual. These aren't just subtitles, they are worlds between civilizations. That's the beauty of it. Most isekai worlds feel like cardboard sets built for the protagonist to flex in. This one existed. It spits on you if you don't adapt. It remembers wars you weren't alive for, and it doesn't forgive your ignorance. This isn't an adventurer's playground, it's a world that's alive. And that's what people don't get. Mushoku Tensei isn't asking you to like Rudius. Hell, I don't like Rudius. Let's hate on him together. This fucking pedophilic bastard. Other isekais hand you cheat codes so-called unique skills. Mushoku Tensei doesn't give you shit. You're watching someone crawl out of rock bottom, not through destiny, not through the isekai plot armor, but through choices, through screwing up, paying the price, and still moving forward. And the world doesn't wait. Paul dies. Ares grows up without him. Sylphie builds her own life. Roxy keeps walking her path. Every chapter reminds you, if you stand still, the world keeps moving anyway. A journey not about saving the world from a demon lord, it's about surviving long enough to matter. And if that survival involves erectile dysfunction, racism, stolen panties, and inventing condoms, well, that's a great fucking life. So yeah, hate Rudius all you want. Call him a creep, a degenerate, someone who should have died in episode 1, but don't lie to yourself. You stayed, you watched, you read. Because somewhere between the boobies and the Gundam fights, you realized this isn't just another isekai. This is the isekai. Also, this guy didn't just stumble around with a harem and depression. He invented shit. Like actual world-shaking, history-bending shit. First off, chantless magic. Then mana recovery potions. Instead of collapsing like sweaty gamers, mages could actually keep going. He basically raised the stock value of every mage alive. Then the Gundams, the MK series MK1, 2, 3, 0, and little things like communication stones, prosthetic arms, gravity magic, even invented condoms. So when people brush off Mushoku Tensei as just another isekai, I lose it. Because this isn't just horny adventures, it's civilization building. It's a creep rewriting history. Then there's the legacy. He doesn't just get the fairy tale ending, his life is messy, filled with mistakes, loss, triumph, compromise. He builds families, he loses people, he raises kids, and he leaves behind a world that's better because he lived in it. This is the biography of a nobody, not a chosen one, not a secret heir, just a fat loser who died jerking off to hentai, specifically lolly hentai, and woke up as a baby. Day 1, useless. Day 2, still useless. Day 3, pisses the bed like a Chad. But unlike most isekais where the world gives you a golden cheat code, here you have to earn it. So this nobody crawls, fails, retries, fails harder, and eventually he invents chantless magic, mana potions, magic armor, condoms. He loses Paul, not in some noble hero's death, but messy and desperate. He loses Ares first to distance and then to time. He almost loses himself to Hitogami's whispers. But he bends the knee. He chooses servitude over pride. He chooses his family over glory. That's what makes this biography different. It isn't boy becomes king, story ends. It's nobody becomes somebody, then grows old, then dies, leaving behind scars, children, and legends. By the end, Rudius isn't the strongest, he isn't the chosen one. He is just the one kept living. And when he dies, it's the closing of a human life. And then somehow, the nobody gets his name carved into a legend. Rudius Greyrat. The man who once couldn't leave his house is now ranked among the 7 great powers. The list was Olympus, Dragon God, Technique God, North God, South God, Death God, name that shook continents, and right there written beside them, Rudius Greyrat. It's not like he was ever the strongest. The 7 great powers aren't about raw stats, they're about influence, about presence, about the fact when you step onto a battlefield, the world has to stop and take notice, and Rudius earned that. Not just with magic, but with his choices, with Orsted, with inventions that reshaped life, with the armies that would move if he whispered. The biography of a nobody became a chapter in history itself. Children grew up hearing his name, warriors dreamt of challenging him, scholars studied his spells, kings measured their pride against him. But here's the part that makes it harder than any other duel. Rudius never stopped feeling like that same pathetic man inside. He wore the title, he carried the weight, but in quiet moments, he was still the perverted shut-in who got a second chance. The 7 great powers were supposed to be gods, but one of them was just a man. I had a lot of fun making this video, but also it took a lot of effort making it, so if you would consider liking, sharing and subscribing, it would make my day.